I purchased this Mustang too from Indianapolis, where it's sat in the garage for almost 30 years. And out of all 8 Mustangs that I've had over the last nearly 3 years, this had the best bumpers out of all of them. There was no rust on them. They were actually pretty good, and the urethane wasn't cracked. It had a bunch of cracks in the primer. Somebody used maybe some canned primer to prime these bumpers up because it did have lots of cracks in it, and some spider cracks. Wasn't that bad, but out of all 8 I've had, these were by far the best bumpers. And since I'm trying to go with that original look with my car, I decided to keep these bumpers. Although I had bought some aftermarket bumpers and had them painted, and I'll insert that clip in a second to show you all, these bumpers were not that bad. There was no rust on them in the back part where they mount up at. It's just the urethane had a bunch of hairline cracks. So my job is to try to get them best as I can and fix them up really nice. I started this process over a year ago. This was actually last summer when I started removing that old paint and sanding down to the material to remove all those spider cracks and make it as smooth as possible before I prime them. And you guys will see how that'll go shortly in this video. It was a sort of a nightmare early on, me using additives, flex additives in the primer. Didn't turn out so well initially, but I eventually get it and make these things look pretty good for what I'm trying to do. So, all right, back out here this morning, well, this afternoon, and I've been working on these bumpers. I started off last year working on these bumpers. They were fully primed, had a lot of cracks in the primer throughout the years, and I'm trying my best to save them. It's gonna be hard. They're gonna look nice, I believe, but they were awful. A lot of cracks everywhere, of course, like this in the primer. So still sanding. I'm gonna get that out of there. So a little bit more work to go with this one. I'll show you all what I'm gonna use, but these bumpers, at least I was told, like they're nearly unsalvageable. You can't salvage these bumpers once they get too far along and cracked up. They were in fairly good condition. Very nice bumpers. As far as the core support, but I'm gonna try my best to get these cracks here and there. All right, let's show you all what I'm gonna use to just fill in some of these little cracks here and there and hope for the best. So this is what we're using. Help us out. 1 part equal to mixing. So I'll be mixing up a little bit at a time, but hopefully it'll help us because the scratches are not that deep. And I'm gonna do my best to try to save these bumpers. If not, we got these bumpers here, both of them, the front and rear bumper. Are they're painted, already fabricated to go up on the other bumper. So, and they're ready to go. But I'm gonna sell these. I'm gonna sell these bumpers. So you guys need some brand new bumpers. These is the aftermarket, but with the factory look, not the, I believe they're called tucked in. These are the factory look bumpers, brand new, and they're primed and painted professionally. I got my just air sitting right here to blow it off, and I'm gonna try to fill these cracks. It is nice out, beautiful day today. It's about 85 today, so I'm trying to take advantage of this weather. I'm really trying to get into the booth because I see 80s all next week, but we're in September now, mid-September, and you never know when these temperatures drop. I don't want to be painting no car in cold weather. I don't. I want to blow the booth up and try to get everything done before this month is out. All right, let me start filling in some of this stuff, mixing a little bit at a time. These cracks right here is the ones I'm concerned about. Not so much the cracks in the primer because they sand out easily. I'm trying to just do something with these and hope for the best. Let me do some mixing and start filling. I've done 1 and 2. Now 3, 4. Gonna mix a little something first and see how it spreads out, and I'll try to go accordingly. Make sure you're in a well ventilated area and possibly have on a mask because this stuff stinks. Oh my goodness. This stuff stinks pretty bad. Alright, the mixing time is like minutes with this stuff. It smells like, if you guys ever used JB Wells before, JB Steel, JB Wells, that stuff smells very strong. Being a ventilated area, I'm right here, that's my setup. And from that little distance, I don't have much time to work with. That stuff is hard as a rock right there. And I have to scrape the stuff off the applicator so I can use it again. It destroyed my glove. You gotta get on there quick. I mixed another little small thing up, but I'm just putting it on. It don't look like it's dry, but that stuff is dry. I just have to pile it on real quick. I'm still got some ways to go. I just was sticking it on as best I can get it wherever I needed to put it at before I sand it off. Just going for the deep cracks into the bumper. I got still lots more to go. Not looking for the cracks in the primer, but stuff like this. Just going over that and trying to save these edges like this. So let me mix some more up and try to do the best I can with this. Try to form that out here as well. So you ain't got much time to work with that stuff. You don't. All right, let me mix some more up and continue on and try to fill in as much as I can. Okay, I'm done. I pretty much done skimmed over all the surfaces I thought may cause a problem. You say you can sand within 5-10 minutes. I'm just gonna wait. I'll probably sand tomorrow. Be fully cured. This stuff you have limited time to work with it. Maybe because it's about 90, well, close to 90 degrees there, 87 degrees right now. I just went over all the surfaces that I thought was going to be an issue and skimmed them because it still feels makes a great body. It forms to a great body. So, yeah, I skimmed over most of the stuff or the things that I thought would cause an issue in the future. So, we're gonna let this dry for some time overnight. Like I said, I'm not gonna do it. You can. It said I think 5 minutes. Go check and see and show you what's left. But yeah, limited time to work with it, and we're gonna see how this turns out. It's gonna look good when I'm done, but you wanna make sure it holds up well. That's the goal. So I guess it's important to keep your applicator clean. I had some extra ones, but this was fine. I used this narrow one opposed to a wide one. Well, not even this one. This is like the perfect one to use for this application. I got well over a half a tube left in each one. So got more left, more material left for other projects. If I sound muffled, it's because my mask is partially over my mouth. Forgive me for that. But we're gonna let that dry. So now, about to jump into another video of me washing the car for the first time in almost 3 years. So, I'm not gonna move it out the garage. I'm gonna wash it inside the garage. I'll use this pressure washer here to wash it in the garage. So let me get this out of here. All right, stay tuned for the bumpers. Guys, I was working on these bumpers for days and days and days and days, and it became exhausting. However, my passion for just working and doing things and getting things done kind of fueled me throughout all this. I wanted to make these things as best as I can get them, and I wasn't stopping until they turned out pretty decent. And you guys will see at the end of this video just so many hours, countless hours of me working on these bumpers, trying to save them, countless days. I was really putting in work on these bumpers, and trust me, it was a very tedious and laborious process, but I was determined. All right, using this cheap gun to prime with some flex additive in the mix. So I'm gonna mix up some paint, just strain it here with the filter here, and we should be all good. All right, let me mix up some primer so I can get started. Got these gallon spouts I'll be using. So this is my initial sanding after the flex additive added with the primer and me guide coating it once again. And of course I'll do that again, but when I wet sand them. But here I had guide coated already after the initial primer with the flex additive, but I ran into an issue, and I'll show you guys that in a second. And it was concerning. It really was bothering me because I was trying to figure out what to do or how can I fix this problem. So here's another coat of primer on top of the work, all the work I previously did, and they look great, both of them. However, run into an issue, and I'll show you guys that in a minute. I was running into an issue that was really bothering me, and I kind of figured it out what I need to do later on, and I'll show that as well. But yeah, a lot of work to get them to look like this, and look how those body lines is, how those lines are formed where the trim go. That turned out great. I couldn't ask for better results with that, but that was a lot of work to get it to look like that, to get that back in that shape. So here's the issue I was facing at the rim of that bumper. When I flexed it, it was cracking in some areas, and that concerned me because I did use a flex additive, but it was cracking in some areas, and I knew I had to figure out what I need to do, and I have figured something out towards the end of this video that ultimately worked for me. Back bumper. So here's the rear bumper after the initial priming with the flex additive, and of course I added some guide coat here just to kind of get it smoothing out, and ultimately I'll run into that problem as well with some cracking around that lip area, and when I flex it, that was my issue with both bumpers. I'll have some cracking along the rim of that bumper around that lip, but they were turning out pretty good. That was just my problem there. They were turning out nice, actually. And like I said, I put so much work into these bumpers. I just had to figure out what I need to do to stop that cracking. As you all see, the flexible primer by SEMA, this is what ultimately helped me, and the goal was to spray it on around that rim lightly. I didn't want to apply it thick, and I think that was the issue. Just put a light coat around that rim, and that's what ultimately helped me. Just kind of lightly coated the top part of that bumper so it wouldn't allow it to crack, and that turned out great for me. That's what I ultimately did with both. You guys can see right now, I'm mixing the can. I bought 3 cans. I only used 1.5 cans to cover the area where it flexed. That the rest of it was okay. I wasn't worried about the bottom part flexing. It just was around that lip area at the top of both bumpers, especially during install. You know, if I bumped it along the body of the car while I was installing it and it cracked, that was going to show. So the goal for me with this, what worked ultimately, was me applying it lightly, not so thick, like I was using the other primer with the flex additive. So that's the goal if you want to try to use it with these urethane bumpers. Just a light coat just to cover that area. Guys, if you have any tips or pointers of what I should have done or what I shouldn't have done, please feel free to drop in the comment section and let me know your approach or what you would have done to help these bumpers. Alright, all the cracks are sanded out. You guys can see what I got. Already wiped it with some wax and grease remover. These are some spots that I had because I want this thing to be pretty straight. Some low spots I had, but yeah, I'll just give it a light coat. Just a light coat and see how this works. I already shook it up. Just gonna mist it on just to get some kind of coverage. All right, let me see how this goes. Okay, second light coat. I'm not doing an additional coat. This is it for me right now. We're gonna see how this work out. Yeah, that's it. We got a little run right here. That's it. No other coats besides a sealer and paint and clear coat. I think I got this thing pretty straight.